Mr. Spacky, how did you meet the defendant?
We met through an online dating site initially.
You're a single guy?
Yes.
You single girl?
No longer.
Were you when you met him?
Yes.
And when did you meet him?
July of this year.
This is what your case is about. You met online, dating. You say you didn't hit it off right away. Well, you're a nice-looking man, she's a nice-looking woman, so you didn't go your separate ways. You had a conversation. She kvetched and complained that you didn't have money for rent. You said, well, I'll pay your rent. I need a marketing plan for my business. You do the marketing plan to pay me back for my rent. You gave her money for rent, or you paid the rent directly to the landlord, which you say was $1,000, and she didn't complete the job that she was supposed to do to pay off the rent, so you fired her. You want back the rent money and the money that it took for you to redo the website or the marketing plan the way you liked it. Do you know how much sympathy I have for you? A zero. You meet somebody online, you look, you chat, whatever, you say, you know what, you're a nice girl, I don't like you, you don't like me, goodbye. You don't say, I'll give you rent money.
That's not exactly what happened.
Well, you didn't know
That's
her.
not at all what happened.
You didn't know her at all before you met online.
Correct.
Did you go out on any dates with her?
No. We met for coffee once.
Okay, so you met for coffee once and didn't hit it off socially.
Correct. We got along. She expressed her concern about her children being evicted, and I was looking for a marketer, which is what she does, and so there was a mutual arrangement to be able to do business together. So I could help her out, and she could help me out.
Just a second. That's exactly what I said.
We met under a social context, but we evolved to a potentially professional one, which is good. We're going to help each other out. I was going to help her out of a jam. She was going to do some work for me. I was hiring her.
Well, Mr. Spacky, let me ask you this question. How much investigation did you do into the defendant's expertise, references, anything else? You met on what date? Pay attention to my questions. You met on what date?
We met on what?
What date? Date. That's not
the date,
foreign word.
July. I don't remember what the date was. So yes, I did do a lot of research into her professional.
It was about July 7th.
Yes, I did do a lot of research into her professional skills.
7/7/2019.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date did you pay her rent?
It was several days later after I did.
Just answer my question. What day did you pay her rent?
I gave her a check for her landlord dated July 19th.
Did you mail it to her?
I gave it to her. I went to her place.
Just a second. You met for coffee on the 7th. That wasn't the only meeting. Between the 7th and the 19th, did you see her?
Professionally, yes.
Just answer my question. I said between the 7th and the 19th, did you see her?
We met several times, yes.
How many times? Twice, 3 times, 4 times?
Yes, 2 to 4, something like that.
Where did you meet him?
At his home and the beach. We took a walk on the beach.
Just a second. At his home?
Yes, ma'am. His office is held at his home. That's why we met there.
So you met at his home office?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went for a walk on the beach?
Yes, he lives right next to the beach, so it was convenient.
On what date did you tell him you were having trouble with rent?
I told him from the very beginning I'm a very open person.
I don't care if you're an open person. Now, you meet somebody for coffee, you met online. I don't know how these things work these days. In my day, when you met somebody, your mother knew somebody's aunt, who knew somebody's sister, who had a male person who had a job,
Right.
who was reasonable looking, didn't look like Quasimodo, and you had a job, and you didn't look so terrible, so they thought you'd be a perfect match.
Right.
That's how it used to work. Now, you go online and look at pictures, or you meet on a date site. I don't understand all of that. I certainly don't understand meeting somebody for a cup of coffee and saying to them, by the way, I don't have money for rent.
Right. I can understand that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I thought it was a little odd, too.
Not odd enough for you not to hire her. Don't answer.
I'm a caring person.
That doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you, if you thought it was odd, that's the first normal thing that you said to me today. That you thought it was odd, too, that you meet somebody, and the first thing she says to you over a cup of coffee is, I'm short on my rent. I would say, this is somebody that I want to stay away from, because if she was in the marketing business and she was a good marketer, she would have rent money, and she wouldn't be asking you for rent. Now, he gave you $1,000. Was your agreement with him that you were going to do a marketing strategy for him?
It was the... Yes.
How old are you?
31.
Did you go to college?
Yes, I did.
Since you graduated from college, have you held a steady job?
I have.
In what field?
Marketing.
For whom?
Another company called Contemporary Services Corporation.
Are you still with him?
No, I just got hired at another company.
He paid your rent on the 19th.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do any work for him before the 19th?
Yes.
I'd like to see what work you did for him before the 19th.
I have conversations here as well that also explains it a bit more.
I don't know what this all is. These are posts that you posted?
Yes, ma'am. Their dates are on there as well.
And this is what you did to him pre-giving you the $1,000?
Yes. There's also the ones that I did after also listed on there as well. So you'll see some are before the 19th and some are after the 19th. It also shows when Mr. Spacky decided to post himself.
Would you show this to the plaintiff, please? Did you do any other work for him?
I did graphic design, and I also counseled him on his video so that he posted on social media.
What else? What other work did you do for him?
I did the strategy, I did the graphic design, I did the video, and that's it.
What else did he ask you to do?
That was it. It was just regular strategy is what he asked me to do for him.
Did there come a time when he fired you?
Yes.
On what date was that?
It was the 22nd
Of what?
of August.
Can you tell me the circumstances?
Yes, after I had a conversation with Mr. Spacky explaining that I needed to get analytics to the back end of his website so I could see where we were starting from, he refused to give that information to me. And I told him, if you don't know how to do it, just tell me and I can help you. And that's when he got extremely aggressive. I hung up the phone, and I have text messages explaining the conversation afterwards, basically telling him I'm not going to be treated that way.
Do you have his responses to those?
I do.
I'd like to see them.
It's near the back. There's a tab.
Okay, well, it seems to me, just reading these emails, which I will show you, you can pass these over to the plaintiff, that Ms. Kirksey consider this $1,000 a loan. That's what she says. What you said was, after you did a substantial amount of work on your project, you had a phone conversation, and she took issue. I don't have to go into what that phone conversation was. She took issue with your tone of voice and the content of that conversation. You may look at it. It's all memorialized in emails and texts between the two of you. What she says is, just to cut to the chase, I won't be disrespected that way. I consider this $1,000 a loan that I did work on. Let us come to an agreement on the value of the work that I already did, and I will pay you the balance of the loan, which is in effect what you said to him, and call it a day. Now, I want you to start with, sir, the fact that I believe, based upon what I've read, that Ms. Kirksey did hours worth of work on your project. I see it from what she handed me, what you read, what she prepared for you, and all this time she spent responding to you, which is time. You can shake your head from here to Pluto. And I'm telling you, those are my findings. She did work. She was substantial enough to consider it a loan. She said, this is not working because you're being disrespectful to me. You give me a figure of what you think the work I did so far is worth. And if we can come to an agreement, fine. Otherwise, we'll have to go to court. That's why we're here. That's what's in there. That's what's in black and white. That's what I can see. So I don't care what's in your mind, your heart, anywhere else. You have what?
I have a side too.
Just a second. I'm telling you that you loaned her $1,000. She did a certain amount of work for you to repay. That was your agreement, that loan. Your agreement was not that she give you $1,000. Your agreement was that she prepare a marketing plan for you. That's what you wrote here. You want me to read the first thing that you wrote in your sworn deposition?
I have an agreement.
During that coffee date, I learned she was 2 days behind from being evicted, needed $1,000. She had a background in marketing, and I thought it would be nice to help her. I told her she'd put that down. I thought she could help me with my website. The agreement was that for $1,000, which was $1,000 you prepaid in rent, she would put together a 3-month marketing plan. That's it, and I paid the rent. Now, what I'm saying to you is she considers that which she didn't have to, alone, and she said to you, and I'll read whatever you have, I did work. Whether I did 10 hours work, 4 hours work, 3 hours work, I did work. You may not be satisfied with it, but I did work. Let's come to an agreement. We can't work anymore. You say I fired her. That's what you say. That's what you swore to in here. You said I fired her and hired a new marketer. Now, so I'm going to look to see what you have. If it's anything different from what I just said, I'm more than happy to review what you say.
Thank you.
Well, this is July 24th, and it's not signed. This is what you wrote.
This is what was sent to her as well. And again,
no, I don't care what it was sent to her.
Ma'am, may I at least...
No, I don't care what you sent to her. It's self-serving.
I don't get to say anything?
You get to say whatever you want. I don't read self-serving documents.
Okay, so what I have to say, since I can say what I want, is that she was contracted to do a plan of action work that she outlined, and she didn't do any of that. She did a very tiny amount of that, and that's when we locked
How many hours did you put into the plaintiff's project?
It was over
he's not paying attention. He's got his own business. Are you in the business of making people feel better and dealing with addiction and restlessness and everything else? Is that what your business is?
Yes, ma'am. and I'm a respected award-winning author on these levels, and yes, I am. And I save lives. That's what I do.
How many hours did you put into this project?
It was over 40 hours over the entire extent of the time that I worked with him.
Okay, so let's say instead of 40 hours, you put in 25 hours.
Okay.
Because I'm reducing that a little bit.
I understand.
And he hired you because you had a certain expertise.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going on the low end. Mm-hmm. And both of you say this was a non-romantic relationship, so when you went to his house, it was for work. Even when you went for a walk on the beach, you were discussing work, because he says it was not romantic. It was just being a nice guy. And you were discussing his project. So 25 times, and I'm going to not pay you $50 an hour.
Correct.
I'm going to pay you $25 an hour.
That's about what I get.
Equals $625. Now, then I'm going to go on this because I'm terrible, as Bird knows, in math. $1,000 minus $625 when he fired you is $375, which is what you owe him. Thank you very much. We're done here.
Parties are excused. You may step out.